Are you a fan of Monster High, Ever After High, or both? If so, then you've probably heard about the Lost movie, also known as the abandoned crossover between the two franchises. I will never forgive them for canceling this movie, especially after looking through all of the concept art and storyboards we got. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a deep dive into everything we know about the crossover movie. While the concept of having these two worlds collide was experimented with in both Monster High during the movies 13 Wishes, Boo York, and Great Scarier Reef, along with Ever After High episodes, the Lost movie, which was potentially going to be titled Fairy Tale, was going to release in 2016 if not for Ever After High being cancelled and the G2 reboot of Monster High. The movie was intended to be in CGI animation, which was the norm for Monster High movies, but would have been completely new for Ever After High, having only ever been in 2D animation. It was through Cassie Sanborn's portfolio that I was able to find concepts of the 3D models of Maddie, Apple White, the Evil Queen, and Una, a brand new character based on a nine-tailed fox, and one of Draculaura's childhood best friends. Might I just add how amazing these designs were in 3D? It was on May 6 in 2016 that the official Monster High YouTube channel released a video titled The Lost Movie Trailer, which would be the first of 13 videos to be shared featuring Draculaura and Claudine reacting to storyboards from the movie and giving us a better idea of what the plot of the movie was going to be. It begins with Draculaura dreaming of chasing down a cloaked figure through a labyrinth, until she's woken up by Nightmare, Headmistress Bloodgood's horse, and is holding a journal belonging to the new character, Una. While Monster High is preparing for a medieval fair, we can see Persephone and Maya.B holding a banner as Miss Bloodgood corrects the placement and oversees that everything be perfect. This is when she's interrupted by Claudine, who is assigned to create a grandstand dress for Miss Bloodgood for her independent study grade, but is struggling with designer block. Laguna and Gil can be seen working at a food stand where they're selling slime and kidney pie, and unfortunately for Jackson, he's persuaded into trying it and immediately regrets it. Draculaura can be seen in the attic, looking through Una's journal and reading, "I have discovered something amazing, a world on a world," when a photo slips out of her with Una when they were younger. When Draculaura flips the page, she notices a mirror sketch of the very mirror seen behind her, and is no other than the Evil Queen's magic mirror. Cleo then makes her introduction in the movie after her and Claudine find Draculaura in the attic and encourage her to snap out of it, the two aware of Draculaura wondering whatever happened to her long-lost friend. This is when it's revealed that Una has been missing for 150 years. As Claudine takes a look at Una's journal, she's inspired by all of the great medieval costume ideas, believing that Miss Bloodgood may even like them, which is when she goes to take some notes on them and discovers a secret message Una left behind. It reads, "To walk between worlds, you must follow these steps. Set the hex. Step 2, state your wish, and Step 3, speak the charm, ghoul friend, and find the path." Despite their discovery, they leave the attic, unaware that the Evil Queen has been watching them this entire time. While everyone is gathered around the campfire and hanging out, including Abby, Jennifer, Gulia, Frankie, Draculaura, Claudine, and Cleo, majority of the ghouls call it a night, leaving just Draculaura, Claudine, and Cleo behind. This is when Draculaura suggests the three play a game and attempt the steps written in Una's journal, starting by setting the hex, which is a formation of crystals that Cleo just happens to have handy in her tent nearby. There's a quick moment where Cleo glares over at Deuce, who's talking to Claude and Heath, and when Step 2 asks for the ghouls to state their wishes, Cleo wishes to find her true prince, Claudine wishes to get over her designer's block, and Draculaura wishes to find Una and bring her home. When the three realize that the final step is to say the word ghoul friend, they shout it out in unison, causing for the crystals to quickly activate and form the iconic Monster High skelette, transporting the girls to the labyrinth. Meanwhile, back at Monster High, everybody is waking up from their tents when Hoodoo bumps into a tree, which is when everyone realizes the new state the school is in, surrounded by trees and covered with vines. Just as Laguna notices Una's journal laying on the ground, a mysterious old lady appears from the woods, claiming to be a traveling saleswoman when she's actually the Evil Queen. Through additional storyboards I came across thanks to @Parrotbeak and Luke Elementix on Tumblr, we can see that Claude, along with others like Deuce, Jennifer, Gulia, Torlai, and Headmistress Bloodgood, are all influenced into signing the old lady's book in return for these unique trinkets and items, unaware that it costs them becoming her minions. Back in the labyrinth, we can see Cleo racing ahead as Draculaura and Claudine try to keep up with her, but the fog is too thick, resulting in them to all bump into each other. Or so they thought. This is when Applewhite, Raven Queen, and Madeline Hatter appear after the 6 of them all crash into each other. At first glance, Apple assumes Claudine could be a relative of Beauty and the Beast, while Cleo is shocked to discover that Applewhite is the daughter of Snow White from the fairy tales. It's interesting to think that Cleo portrays the evil queen in Draculaura's Snow White story. Raven then goes on to warn them that if they don't stop her mother, the evil queen, Monster High and everyone in it will be doomed and forced to become her minions. She then explains that the only way to make it out of the labyrinth is by getting through her mother's ever-changing tests, and as the ghouls continue on with their quest, the same cloaked figure as seen in Draculaura's dream is watching them from above. At this point in the movie, it's clear to see that each of the characters from Monster High and Ever After High have their own pairings: Cleo and Applewhite, Draculaura and Raven, and Claudine and Maddie. Garrett Sander, creator of Monster High and co-creator of Ever After High, commented in the past that there was going to be a doll line for the movie featuring the Ever After High girls, while adding a monster type to them on top of their fairy tale, and the Monster High ghouls would add a fairy tale on top of their monster type. He even mentions that he thinks they were going to do the Ever After High girls using the Monster High body molds, with potentially new heads, and vice versa for the Monster High ghouls. This conversation was started after At Dolls for the Archives shared this prototype image of what Garrett believes was Applewhite as a vampire. After doing further research, I was also able to find concept art for Applewhite in both her original design and alternate look for the crossover on Casey Sanborn's portfolio. I think these are the designs that Garrett was referring to, as we can see Cleo's color palette intertwined in Apple's OG look, while including a 2D look in the left corner, and Apple with black hair in the bottom right corner, as each of the pairs will end up switching distinct parts of themselves with each other. So in Apple's case, she ends up getting Cleo's black hair. However, it's unknown what Cleo ended up getting from Apple. My first guess would be her blonde hair, but I think it'd make more sense for her to get Apple's way with nature and animals. Back to the storyboards, we can see the girls walking through a mushroom forest, and Claudine interacting with a smaller mushroom that turns out to be a creature. Another sequence shows the girls halting for a little unicorn mice, and Raven using her magic to bring a weeping flower back to life. This seems like it would have been a music sequence in the movie, since Maddie's then seen summoning flowers out of her hat, Cleo and Apple showing each other their royal homes, and the girls taking one big group photo. As the girls make their way across a bridge, Draculaura and Claudine are shocked to see Claude with a purple glow and appearing as a troll under the bridge. Their first test would be to answer all 3 of his questions correctly, otherwise he'd eat them. Though the questions are easy, Claudine is impatient and accidentally interrupts, answering the question incorrectly. At this point, the girls get split up into their pairs, sending them in opposite directions down the magical stream until Draculaura and Raven are saved by the cloaked figure, who is no other than Una. As the 3 catch up, Una explains that she felt a shift in the labyrinth after the evil queen was freed. In her hideout, the 3 go over what has happened thus far, and Draculaura blames herself for not believing Una when they were younger. Flashback to their childhood, we learn that Draculaura and Una were best friends, and it was the day that they found old scrolls deep within the vaults of Monster High that they discovered a world of fairy tales, Ever After High. From that day on, Una was determined to discover this other world, while Draculaura believed she'd been wasting her time and stopped hanging out with her. All that remained was Una's journal, and ever since then, she'd been trapped within the labyrinth, analyzing every corner of it and yet failing to figure it out. When Raven attempts a spell, she transforms into a bat, which is when they realize they've swapped powers, and they weren't the only ones. After Maddie and Claudine manage to get out of the magic stream, they too discover their swapped abilities, with Maddie now having Claudine's sense of smell and hearing, while Claudine can pull things out of others' hats. There was also going to be this funny scene of Claudine critiquing Maddie's howl. As for Cleo and Apple, it seems like they could be seen on a large lily pad, and that their next test would involve a snake, who most likely was Deuce. With Una being so familiar with the labyrinth, she guides Raven and Draculaura into a direction she warned them not to go earlier because it was a dragon's lair holding an exit to the labyrinth, the dragon being no other than Jennifer. Over with Cleo and Apple, the girls manage to make a run through their mirror exit back to Monster High and are soon joined by Claudine and Maddie. The school is a ghost town, which is when they notice a figure pass through the windows of Headmistress Bloodgood's office. The four confront the evil queen, and when Cleo demands to know where her fans, she means friends, are, the evil queen says they'll have their answers once they sign her book. Claudine says they won't take orders from her, and it's then that the evil queen cast a spell, which may have been the very spell that was casted upon everyone else, who since then have become the queen's minions. Raven and Draculaura, still trapped in the labyrinth, must face the dragon and treasury guards in order to retrieve the key to get back to Monster High. And while unfortunately the official Monster High YouTube channel never got around to sharing the remaining storyboards from the movie, it seems like Raven and Draculaura managed to get their abilities back, and an epic showdown between Raven and her mother would have taken place. It's unclear what Draculaura's doing in the final act, but whatever it is, seemed to have sent things back to the way they were, which is why Claudine and Cleo can be seen sitting on the ground in front of Monster High looking confused. The last colored visuals show one of the mirror portals likely back to Ever After High, and the evil queen on her own in a deserted place, likely having been sent back to her mirror prison. I must say, I like how this movie felt like a combination of all of the other existing Monster High movies, such as Draculaura searching for her lost friend like in Fright's Camera Action, the evil queen portraying a traveling sales lady, similar to Farnham from Skull Shore, the dark setting like of that in 13 Wishes when Wisp almost wins, and so on. It's truly so disappointing that Monster High and Ever After High, two thriving franchises at the time, took a turn for the worst in the same year and missed the incredible opportunity to bring the two together to become more successful than ever. But on a positive side, I am happy that we at least got a look into what the movie was going to look like and be about, along with the book The Legend of Shadow High, which I'm currently reading and really enjoying. And best of all, we did eventually get Monster High back with G3, and while I know it seems so unlikely that Ever After High will ever make a return, I continue to believe that one day it may make a return, and at the very least continue to rewatch the episodes and specials. Thank you so much for watching this video. I learned so much about the Lost movie while making this video, and I couldn't have done it without all of these incredible sources, so thank you to everyone who has helped compile this information on the internet, and I would love to know down below your thoughts on this crossover, Monster High, Ever After High, everything. Thank you so much to my Celestial Guardian channel members for your support, and remember, be yourself, be unique, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!